She's a lady who strolls on hot coals for fun. 3 characters who run the strangest museum in the world, and man-woman, a mellow yellow kind of guy. Weird and wonderful. Next.
It's weird and wonderful.
Welcome to Weird and Wonderful. Tonight, we're going to meet a woman whose hobby is walking through red, hot coals.
I don't know how come we can walk on hot coals.
Well, I knew she was crazy. Otherwise, I wouldn't have married her, you know. I didn't know she was that crazy.
And we'll visit one of the strangest museums in the world, run by 3 guys by the side of the road. And we'll meet man-woman, who, when he's not wearing this, wears only yellow and is married to the local dentist.
He inundated me with chickens, and his brother Harry called it the Great Chicken Romance.
Why do you do that?
I don't know.
I'm Bob Duncan, and this is Weird and Wonderful.
We asked women who clean with bleach, what's under your sink?
Bleach, something to cut grease. Bathroom cleaner, bleach, tile spray.
Something to clean grout. And, of course, bleach.
If bleach is so great, what's with that other stuff?
Well,
Introducing new Comet Liquid Gel, the bleach plus cleaner with chlorinol. Comet Gel removes stains like bleach does, plus it wipes out the grease and soap scum bleach can't handle.
that's really something.
New Comet Liquid Gel. When others can't cut it, Comet can.
Extra, extra! A first-time ever major home furnishings event is coming to an end in all Brick stores across Canada Monday and Tuesday. The Brick presents its massive no-tax weekend. For the first time ever, no GST and no PST on a huge selection of home furnishings. And on the huge selection of appliances and electronics, the Brick pays the GST. Everything in all Brick stores, always at the guaranteed lowest prices. And Monday and Tuesday, on a huge selection of top brand name home furnishings, you get the GST and PST for free. Hurry, this first time ever no-tax weekend ends Tuesday at the Brick.
You've probably never seen a bathroom like it. It was hand-painted as an anniversary gift, an example of his artistic style, his cosmic product period. If you're thinking this isn't exactly normal, you might be right. But then there's very little that could be called normal about these bathroom walls, or about the artist who painted them. An artist who claims his life is directed by his dreams, and whose legal name is man-woman. There's a few other things you might want to know about man-woman. He likes yellow. His restored 1960 Cadillac is yellow. His van is yellow. His house is sort of yellow. His mountain bike, yellow. And in case you haven't noticed, his clothes are yellow. All his clothes.
Absolutely everything is yellow. I have yellow socks. I have yellow shorts. We won't talk about those. And I have yellow pants, yellow swimsuits. Sometimes you get a bit orange because you're in a store and you think, oh, there's a nice yellow, and then you get out in the sunlight and it's not quite the perfect yellow.
Does that annoy you?
Yeah. Different kinds of yellow. The yellow that I tend to like is a real rich, full chroma yellow. Like I would say, that's probably the perfect kind of a yellow.
Why is everything yellow? I mean, everything.
I just don't feel good unless I'm wearing yellow. And it's, I just feel good in it. It's very radiant. It's like sunshine and, springtime. And it just has a really kind of a upbeat, joyous thing about it.
Now, it's not unheard of for artists to be a little weird, although usually they live in big cities, where the rest of us are too busy to notice. But Man-Woman still lives in the small town where he grew up, Cranbrook, nestled in the mountains near the Alberta-BC border. They claim here they have more sunshine than anywhere else in British Columbia. He says his childhood was a happy one, very ordinary, very normal. He was born Patrick Charles Kemble. His mother ran the local jewelry store, and he grew up the way all the boys of Cranbrook grew up in the late 1950s. There was even a time when he joined the army, but it didn't last. By the late 1960s, things had changed, and he decided to do away with himself, to simply stop being Patrick Charles Kemble.
I put this notice of death on my back door to say that I had died. And then later in my dreams, people started calling me Man-Woman, and I was both male and female in the same body. I was wearing sometimes women's clothing. There was all this kind of interchange of male and female, which was like the male part of me and the female part of me had come together into this kind of incredible wholeness. And I dug a grave in the backyard.
You dug a grave?
I dug in a grave in the backyard, and I buried my old self in there. I made a tombstone that I carved out of wood, and my landlady went crazy. And it was just, my wife was going crazy at the time, and it was just a very, very much a crisis for me.
How did people around you react to that?
My friends all thought I was crazy. I went to see a priest, and he told me, my son, I'm sorry I have to be the one to tell you this, but you're insane. You should go turn yourself in. My mother thought I was having a nervous breakdown. And, it was crazy. My wife, this is my first wife, she couldn't take it. It was too much. Because everyone came to her and said, why is he so crazy? Why is he doing this? And why is he doing that? Why did he change his name to Man-Woman? And of course, people thought that I was turning into some kind of a transsexual or something. And so there were all these kind of, and just going against the norm, doing something totally wonderfully abnormal.
So you don't miss Patrick Charles Kemble?
No, not at all. Rest in peace.
Now, if it isn't weird enough for you yet, try this. He's happily married to the local dentist. Meet the wife, Dr. Dale Sellers, who looks down on a lot of people who've questions about her husband.
I guess it was in a dental chair when she was giving me pain that I fell in love with her. Just kidding.
I decided to start collecting chickens, and I had 2 pieces in the kitchen, and that was all. I was complaining about how difficult it was to find ceramic chicken or anything like that. So he came in one day, and he dug in his pocket, and he pulled like these baggy pajama kind of pants, and pulled out a really old little salt and pepper. It was the pepper, I guess. It was a little chicken. So this started to be a real shtick, and I'd be at work having my lunch in the back room, and the receptionist, she'd come in and she'd be snickering, and she'd say, "Oh, somebody left something for you." And so I'd go and open it up, and it'd be a little chicken.
She said she collected chickens, like salt and pepper shakers and this and that, and candlesticks and everything. So every time I come in to see her to get my teeth picked, I'd bring her a chicken. And so that made a big hit.
He inundated me with chickens, And his brother Harry called it the Great Chicken Romance. And at the time, actually, he thought it worked so good that he was going out with a gal at the time, and she was a Leo, and he started doing the same thing for her with lions, but didn't get him anywhere.
How do you think her patients react to her being married to man-woman?
In the beginning, they questioned it. Now it's cool because I'm the local celebrity.
They'll complain to the receptionist, and they'll complain to the assistant. They might ask the assistant, well, you know, isn't she married to that weird guy? But they would never dare say anything to me that would get my back up, you know. So I don't get much feedback at all. I think maybe if I was in a different profession, I might.
If the patients were a bit dubious about the relationship, you can imagine what Dr. Seller's family had to say.
My mom liked him instantly, and so did my aunt. But my dad, we were sort of seeing each other, and my dad came to Cranbrook, and he came over and met him. So he knew who he was, and then about 6 months later, I told him I was getting married, and he said, oh, to the painted lady. So...
Her dad didn't like me at all. He used to come down here to visit her, and he called me the painted lady. You know, even after we got married, he didn't talk to me for about 5 years, because he's just from the older, crustier generation that doesn't have any sense of humor, doesn't realize that life is a joy if you make it a joy. And, you know, he was a serious sort of a person that was in the Navy in the Second World War, and so he just freaked out when he saw me.
I think now he's pretty well accepted him. He realizes that, you know, we've been together for 15 years and we have a pretty solid relationship. And I think he realizes that he wasn't out for a retirement plan, as some of our friends kind of hinted in the beginning. Yeah.
My cousin said, "Oh, you'll never have to work again." And there are 2 or 3 guys around town, the type that would have married her and slid along and never worked again. They said, "Oh, gee, this is just wonderful. You never have to work again." I just couldn't believe that they had that attitude. Yeah. Okay.
And yet, at first glance, they appear to be a very normal couple. Most people don't even notice the yellow clothes, or the third eye tattooed in the middle of his forehead, or the fact that his wife calls him man-woman.
We'd separate in the store, and I'd be way back, and he'd be on up the front. He'd go by somebody, and they'd go, and they'd start talking to one another, and they didn't know I was connected to him, so...
So she saw all the dirty looks, but I ignore it.
Yeah.
But no, in Cranbrook, I think I'm pretty well liked. You know, now that they got used to me.
But not everyone in Cranbrook is used to him. Mrs. Frances Clark.
What does it mean? Is man-woman his actual name? Or what is it?
Yes, his legal name. He's changed it to man-woman.
Really? So his surname would be woman? I don't know. It's beyond my comprehension, I tell you. I don't know what it means.
It has meaning for him. It's his real name. And I just haven't found mine yet, I guess. But, no, I would never, like, his trip is his trip. Yeah.
We'll be right back with more Weird and Wonderful.
At Zellers, since 1931, we've been looking at many ways to continue to lower costs. Pointing to even greater value, look for our lower low price signs throughout the store, with lower low prices on a huge range of merchandise, including top quality name brands. It's part of our ongoing commitment to help you get the most for your shopping dollar. With unbeatable weekly specials in our flyers and everyday low prices, you save even more on national brand names and get free Club Z rewards. At Zellers, because the lowest price is the law.
The sun's solar rays hurtle toward us at almost 300,000 kilometers per second. Then they stop, right here, where they meet copper tone, 50 years in the sun protection business gives you a range of lotions trusted for their UVB and UVA protection. No matter what your sun protection needs, Coppertone meets them with SPF 15 to 45, sweatproof Coppertone Sport, Gentle Water Babies, and 6-hour waterproof Coppertone Kids. No one knows the sun like Coppertone.
Hey, now you get 25% more cavity-fighting Trident free in the new Fresh Pack.
25%? Whoa.
Yeah, that's like getting this much more hat, this much more sneaker, or this much more jeans.
But exactly how much more Trident is it?
Easy. It's one more piece in every pack, and each individual stick is bigger.
Cool.
You betcha. Trident gum with Dentec is the only gum recognized by the Canadian Dental Association.
Choo-choo. Roseanne cited Tom Arnold. Madonna accused Sean Penn. James Farentino, Jim Brown, Randy Jackson. All were accused of abusing their mates. And on the next Entertainment Tonight, you'll find out Hollywood's plan to eliminate spousal abuse. Then look out, David Caruso. You're no longer the sexiest cop on TV. See how Nick Turturro strutted his way into sex symbol status. Only on Entertainment Tonight.
Man-Woman's name, strange as it is in fact becoming quite well known, even outside of Cranbrook. His paintings, which for years have not been exactly big sellers, have finally started to attract an audience. His series on a cosmic product line, featuring 3 little nuns who drive a truck and promote things like toothpaste and spray-on joy, are beginning to bring him a lot of attention. This is his latest work.
It's called, Yes, Sir, He's My Baby. It's about rebirth. Basically, swastika is the world of primordial inner energy into which I went. Now I'm coming back out. Here's this long umbilical cord, and the baby's being received in the doctor's arms. But that cord is still there, so there's a scissors that's going to cut it. There's an axe that's trying to chop it. There's a chainsaw now finally coming in here to cut through that, to give me independent life so that I can be totally renewed.
Is he selling better these days?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. In fact, he got a check from his gallery in Los Angeles. I'm sure you heard about that. He must have told you, wouldn't let that go by.
Dan Aykroyd, he bought toothpaste, he bought spiritual chips, and he bought Instant God, which is a breakfast cereal, for his blues club in Chicago called the House of Blues.
Now, will you get big bucks for paintings like this? I mean, how much money are we talking about?
Oh, several thousand, that's all, at the moment.
That's all? That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like a painting like this could take me a month, 2 months to paint. So even a plumber or a street sweeper actually makes more than the artist, unless I get big recognition coming up, and then they could be selling for thousands and thousands. So that's one of the gambles that the artist takes.
That would bring you some spray on joy, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit of spray on cash, right?
And where does he get the inspiration for all this art? Ah, yes. That's another thing you might want to know about Man-Woman. His dreams. Not only does he have lots of them, he takes direction from them. He writes them all down, and then he keeps them in a safe in the basement. When did you start writing down your dreams?
1965. I never had a dream before that. And all of a sudden, they all started flooding.
You never had a dream before 1965?
Not that I remember. I used to sleep so heavily, you know. And then all of a sudden, I remembered every dream. So I've written them all down. I've got over 300 steno pads in here, all full of dreams.
Now, how many dreams would be in each pad?
A month's worth.
So over 30, or do you
I write at least one dream, sometimes 3 dreams down every day, about 5 days out of 7.
Why do you do that?
I don't know.
see, in one way, he thinks that his dreams are showing his development in a spiritual sense. And yet, sometimes he's on the verge of enlightenment, and then other times he's being buried in the ground.
In the dream, I'm in the Woody Woodpecker Memorial Laughter Hospital. And all the nurses were Woody Woodpecker, and all the doctors were Woody Woodpecker. Everybody was Woody Woodpecker, and they were all giving the famous laugh. Ha, ha, ha. And I woke up out of that dream, and I thought, yeah, you know, I just got to lighten up on this whole thing and you know, kind of use humor to get well. And it worked. Yeah. And I actually made it into a painting. It's already sold and gone. But that's an example, just a little example of the kind of things that I have in my dreams. For me, my dreams are like my spiritual guides, that kind of tell me what to do and tell me what I need to change about my life and what I need to look at. And, you know, a lot of people don't want to look at the dark side of themselves, and sometimes the dream will come right up and hit you with it smack right between the eyes. So I think it's healthy.
It was in one of his dreams that he was told he'd been chosen to restore the image of the most despised and despicable symbol of the 20th century. So he started what must be the world's largest collection of swastikas. There are swastikas everywhere. The house is adorned with them. He even has them in the new stained glass window at the top of the stairs. All because of a dream.
You've sort of taken it on yourself to bring this swastika back to respectability.
Yeah, well, I mean, if only people will say, okay, there's a sacred swastika, and there's the one that was used by the Nazis, to give it a division, because half the world's population right now still uses it as their sacred sign. All the Hindus and all the Buddhists in the world, which is a huge chunk of our population, they use it as their sacred symbol. This is a Chinese candlestick holder for ceremonial, spiritual, religious purposes.
I must confess, I don't even like touching this stuff. What's this?
Okay, that's got nothing to do with the Nazis. That's the shoulder patch from the 45th Infantry Division in the United States.
The American Army.
And when Hitler came to power, they changed it to a Thunderbird. Amazing. And they have a belt buckle, and that was later taken on by the Girl Guides and the Boy Scouts as their belt buckle. And it was considered their badge of luck. Here's a poker chip from the United States Playing Card Company, produced in the 1920s. This is the hood ornament from the Krit car, which looks like a Nazi flag. It's a black swastika on a yellow circle on a red ground. Same, and it was done at least 10 years before the Nazis used their flag.
So all this stuff is long before swastika was used by Hitler?
Oh, yeah. Here's an Art Deco purse that a friend of mine picked up in Toronto. It's got silver beaded swastikas on
Collecting pre-Nazi memorabilia was one thing, but then he took it one big step further.
Well, how many tattoos do you have?
Well, I got over 200 swastikas on my body. And
200
yeah.
swastikas?
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere. They're all over the place. And these are all from ancient cultures, from the Hopi Indians and from the Christian catacombs, and that's one from the Jewish religion. This is Buddhist, Chinese, that's Tibetan, that's the Jain swastika from India. Like, it covers the globe. There's the hammer of Thor from the Vikings, and there's a Japanese one there, Greek, Maltese. Like, it covers the world. Lapland, that's called God's house, the four little roofs. And it's just from every culture that you can possibly imagine had used the swastika.
What is his purpose? What is he doing? I don't understand. The rest of the sign, well, that's fine. he can do what he likes with his body, besides the fact that it's positively ugly to be all those signs on you anyway. But the swastika is a bad thing to do, especially at this time, because there are so many groups coming up out of, just for no reason at all. And this is, it just made me ice cold.
The first one was this little one on my baby finger, and a guy just did it with a couple of needles stuck onto the end of a pencil. And I thought, oh yeah, that's my one tattoo. Wrong. I kept dreaming and dreaming and dreaming. Pretty soon my whole hands were covered with swastikas, and my arms were covered with swastikas. And I continually dream about it being a sacred symbol and a good luck sign, which it has been for thousands of years.
Well, I don't even see it anymore. I just don't even notice it. There was one tattoo that kind of bothered me. Most of the time, he wanted to get more tattoos, and that's fine. And, of course, everything is very stylized, like the skulls are kind of grinning and everything. That was okay, but we bathed together. And the one that he got on his chest is like a real goofy-looking skull. Like it sits right here. And so he's sitting there, and it all kind of squashes down, and it's a real nerdy-looking thing when it all pulls up.
There's one more thing you might like to know about Man-Woman. It's about the only time he doesn't wear yellow, when he becomes Mr. Death.
And you walk down the street like that?
Oh, yeah. A little hard to hear in here, but... Well, kids love it. Kids love it. Older folks are not too keen. Although sometimes the old senior citizens will shake my hand and say, I'll be seeing you soon. When I'm in the costume, And Mr. Death always says, catch you later. Mr. Death always seems to represent a transformation of myself. The death of the old and the birth of the new. And in that respect, he kind of represents a transformation of society at large.
When Mr. Death steps out occasionally...
I'll catch you later.
...to terrorize the good people of Cranbrook, it seems they've grown quite used to his performance and are not at all alarmed. Although not all join in the sense of fun.
Catch you later.
Man-Woman isn't concerned. He's 55 years old now and finally moving his career into the big time.
How are you?
He doesn't really care very much what other people think.
Okay. You look at my tattoos, you look at my swastikas, you look at my third eye, you look at my name, you look at my yellow clothes, and it all seems really crazy unless you get to the real point, is that what it is for me is a whole spiritual pathway that I'm on, that my dreams keep telling me to do certain things. My visions keep showing me certain things.
What do you think when people say to you, well, that's really quite weird?
Well,
Do you recognize it as being weird yourself?
In a way, yeah. But it's, if you're not following your own dream, you're following society's dream. And what do you want to do? Do I want to be on my deathbed and say, I had a dream, but I gave it up because society disapproved of it? I couldn't live with that. Absolutely couldn't.
So, Mr. Death will continue to walk the streets of Cranbrook. And Man-Woman, no doubt,
catch you later,
will continue on his weird and wonderful spiritual journey. Unless, of course, his dreams tell him to stop all this nonsense and become an accountant.
Catch you later.
We'll be right back with more Weird and Wonderful.